Okay, welcome back everyone. This is part 2 of how to build a microservice car. And I'm going to lay out a plan here. I've already built these before, so I know what I'm doing. There's 3 bolts coming up through this lower pan here. This one's a little short. I'm going to take that bolt out and put a longer bolt in there so I have something to grab. And then I'm going to put a piece of a plate here between those 3 studs, and we're going to mount a bracket to hold our spare tire down. Now here, okay, like I said, this is the donut tire from a Yaris I bought from a junkyard. I think it was about 75 or 80 bucks. It looks like it's been used, but it doesn't matter. It's just a spare. This jack, this scissor jack and handle I bought, I'm pretty sure I bought this at Harbor Freight Tools. Or maybe I bought it at Amazon online. I think so. But it's cheap. It's like 10-15 bucks. So we're going to bolt that into the compartment here after we get our bracket in there to hold the tire, and then I'll show you how to take off these side panels here, because what we're going to do is we're going to lift up this rug, and there's a couple of bolts going into the frame right here that we're going to use as a support for this angle. We're going to mount an aluminum foundation or a platform that's going to come across, and then we're going to be able to put boxes and compartments up on top. Alright, so let's get to work. And also one more thing, I have a backup light, a backup camera that I will be hooking into this too before we close this all up. Okay, this is a piece of 1/8 aluminum plate, and I've measured out the locations of these studs or holes, bolts that are popping up through the floor, holding up some kind of a device underneath. I don't know what that is, maybe for the emissions, but this is going to fit over here like this, and then we're going to use the 3 nuts. Now these are not the right threads, but I can get them once I can get to the store. We're in the middle of this coronavirus, so I don't know if I'll be able to get to the store, but this will just hold us in place for now. So now we're going to put a stud, a threaded rod coming up through the bottom, and a bracket to hold the spare tire down. So that will be next on the list. Okay everybody, we are back with another session of how to build a microservice car. I was able to get out to the hardware store this morning, and I bought a 2-inch bolt, 2.5-inch bolt, flathead, and a nut to lock that down. So this goes like this. I was also able to get 3 metric nuts to go on top of those bolts to lock that down into place, like so. And we'll tighten those up. And I also put this piece of 1.5-inch tube to allow the tire to sit on top of this to keep it straight. And also, you could always stash stuff in there. Put a couple of 1/2-inch bolts in there to lock it in if you want to carry something you don't want people to see. Alright, you can roll up your license and registration and your insurance cards and put it in there if you don't, because this car does not come with a glove box. Alright, so now here's the tire. This is the Yaris tire. And we're going to put this like that. We also made a large washer, and we were going to use this as a nut, but I bought a wing nut instead. Make it a lot easier. I could put a lock washer on there if I need to, but that's going to hold. That's not going anywhere. We're going to mount the jack somewhere over there. I'm not sure if that's where I'm going to put it. So okay, let's do the next thing. Okay, now that project is done, the next project is we're going to take off the left panel like we did here so that we can pull this rug forward, and underneath this rug there's two major bolts right here holding part of the chassis, and we're going to build some supports that come off that. I've already built it. I'll show it to you in the next step, but it's going to bolt into here. It's going to give us a platform so that we can have a compartment underneath here for things that we hardly use, and then all our boxes and baskets of parts up here. Also, this well of this donut tire is going to be a place for us to store our copper tubing and all our tubing that's rolled up, so we're not going to waste any space here. And if it seems a little jagged, the video, it's because I'm wearing these video glasses. I need to use both of my hands. Okay, now we'll start to take off that. Okay, you're going to need a Phillips and a flathead here. There's a little clip here. This looks like a button. You take that out, and there's a Phillips head screw holding this in. And let me see, there's little slots here. Stick a screwdriver in there, pull that out, everything just snaps in. There's no bolts or nothing. Put that away. Take this one here, the same thing. Pull that away. By the way, secret compartments. Now we got something down here. That, and we have, let me see, I believe we have to take this one off too. Let me get on the other side. Gotta go crawl in here. All right, let's see. I know this has to come off. Let's pull that away. Pull that out. Pull that off. There's another clip down here. I want to take this off too. It's one thing about these cars. They just pop apart. Nothing's bolted anymore. This came out. We'll figure out where that goes. Stick it there for now. Now, you could take the seat belts out if you want. You don't really need them, but if you're ever going to put the car back, you need the seat belts in there. I still have the back seats and everything. So here's what your automatic seat belt rotor here, and this one here for the back, and all your sensors and things, speakers. Not bad. I don't know why the Japanese stopped making this car. This is a great car. I bought this in 2012. It's 2020. It's 8 years old. Has about 120,000 miles on it. When I bought it one of the first ones on the East Coast when they came out in 2012. I got a spoiler, and I upgraded it with Eagle Sports. These are a little wider than the originals. These are 195/55/16, and these are 6-inch wide rims, which gives me a little more bite, a little more rubber on the road, a better cornering. Also, when I bought this car, I bought it with the factory lowering springs and sway bar. So that's the car, basically. All right, let's continue. Okay, so now we're stuffed here in the back of this car. First thing we're going to remove is this little clip. It just kind of, you see that in the light. See, it's got this serrated edge, and so when you press it in, it locks in, and it's very easily to pull out. I mean, it's not easy to pull out, but it needs a little persuasion. But that goes right there. That's what holds part of the rug down. So we'll leave that in here so we don't lose it. And then we also have to remove these. These have to come out. They're just popped in, pressed in. Okay. Now, okay. Now here's what I'm talking about. This bolt and this bolt, we're going to, we've already made a support system that will allow us to put a platform up here above all this. So we're going to have storage down here for odds and ends, and then we're going to put our main stuff up here. So we'll pull out these bolts, but before we do that, what I want to do here is I want to mark the rug where those bolts are, put a little slit in with a razor knife so that we can push the carpet back down and have the bolt holes exposed. Same thing on this side. We'll do that next. Okay, here is the foundation that I made. I made this for another Scion. It's made out of 1.5 by 2 inch aluminum rectangular tubing, 1/8 of an inch thick. I welded 2 pieces down onto the bottom, drilled holes in it. You can hear the bolts are in there. I'll have to get them out through here with a magnetic tool. I also put, this is an 1.5 inch, 1/8 angle aluminum. I put this piece of foam on here to cushion the piece of plywood or whatever we're going to use to be the foundation of our upper part, our upper cabinet. Okay, I also picked up some additional tubing. This is 1 by 1 aluminum, 1/8 thick. This is another piece of aluminum angle. This is 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. We may need it for the back, so that will be. Let's now mount this part into the car. Okay, so here's the other side. You can see that bolt left me a nice hole there. So we take this bolt out that will hold all that equipment. That's okay. Now we have this little magnetic tool here, and what we do with this is we grab our bolt and we line it up with the hole on the bottom so that we can get our socket in there. We'll do the same thing here. That one's already put in. Okay, so now let's get ourselves a socket and extension, and then we'll mount this. All right, let's pull this rug back over, set this in position here. These are for the seats, by the way, the rear seat, those little clips. Okay, so before we mount that this platform, we're going to put the panels back in. I want to make sure that there's going to be sufficient clearance on that cross section there to make sure we can get the panels off and on. Alright, so we're going to put this left panel, driver's side panel, through the seat belt here. And then we're going to start to work this way, work it back in, and snap it into place. Okay, so now we got this in place. Now I'm going to start putting this back where it belongs. Okay. This piece in here. This. That's the wrong one. It's the wrong side. Put this piece in here. Like this. It's a little tricky here because there's another one of those clips. Okay, so this is a tool we use to take those clips out. You can also use a flathead screwdriver. And it's out. It's out, but where did it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so this goes in like this. Okay, and then it's going to go behind this gasket. Okay, that's the way it goes. And then this piece here, along with this piece. Okay, that's on there. This goes on like this. Clips here. Everything just snaps. These pieces here snap over these. It's just, I mean, it makes it easy to do, but it's just, to me, a better way to do this. Okay. Believe. Just something a little spooky about this here. It looks like there's a bolt missing. We can tackle that later. Okay, now we're going to start putting this back together, but before I do, I just wanted to show you how these go in. This thing has a little slot down here, see? And it slides into this opening. And you put that in there like this, and you just snap that into place. Now, you could remove that piece of foam and use this as a storage area, which I may do, but I also have this. This is a rain suit. I very rarely, if ever, used it. I never used the pants, but I did use the jacket sometimes. So what I'm going to do is, since I very rarely use it, I'm going to store it in here into this compartment, because it's just an open hole, a cubby hole. All right, it's there. And then I'm going to take this cover, and I believe you put the bottom in first, like that, and you put the bottom of this one in, like that. It's not that bad, and you pop it into place. That's it. So they're all in. Let me put this piece on here. This piece goes like this, and there's some clips that go in here, right here. These glasses are falling off my nose. That goes there. Another one that goes down here. There's two here. All right. The only thing is, for the pants, why don't we just put the pants on this side? Stuff our pants. These are the shock absorbers, by the way. How you change your shocks. Just stick this in here. Put this in like this. And then the bottom. All right. So now, let's put our frame on, make sure it fits. Looks like it's going to fit. Okay, we lost that bolt. Let's get that. Okay, there you have it. It's all bolted down. Everything's back together here. So now we're going to start laying out in part 3 how we're going to put our platform in here. By the way, these pieces are in the way, so we're going to save these and put them with the back seats and the parts for the back seats.